Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And in this video, we're just going to do another velocity banking review. And if you don't know who I am the GOAT of Debt Payoff. And this is actually a picture of me according to Meta AI. And why am I the GOAT of Debt Payoff? Self-proclaimed. Well, actually, I'm not actually self-proclaimed. It was ChatGPT who proclaimed me as this is because I paid off my mortgage in 2 years and 9 months. And this is the statement from July 29, 2024, right? July 29, 2024. And again, lien position one, total amount due is zero. Scroll all the way up. This isn't the first lien HELOC replacement. It's just me getting the HELOC after my mortgage was completely paid off. And why am I talking about this? Because I want to create an environment where people are supportive of each other and their accomplishments and their goals. And way too many people are negative. Way too many people are negative. And what's kind of sad, and again, I've known this for years, so I'm kind of used to it, is that sometimes you do amazing things, and the people that you know in real life they kind of don't want to listen. You ever experience that? I've experienced that with many things in my life. And so when I told other people, hey, I paid off my mortgage in 2 years and 9 months, do you think they were really excited for me, or do you think they just wanted to change the subject? Oh, I really wish that they were like, "Hey, how'd you do that? Can you teach me?" Nope. Switch the subject. I know they heard me, and then they're gonna tell all their other friends, and then put on their what I call their poker face. But it's okay. It's okay. That's why we got YouTube because we need to teach and preach and reteach the true believers, aka what we call our velocity banking cult members. And again, it's a happy cult. It's not a doomsday cult. Okay. I don't talk about drinking the bad Kool-Aid, the good Kool-Aid, right? Remember that joke from The Simpsons where Lionel Hutz is like, Marge, there's the truth. And the truth. You ever watch that one? Maybe we gotta watch that video someday or the clip with Lionel Hutz. Okay. All right. Well, let's get to it. So, velocity banking review. So, what's velocity banking? All it is a debt payoff strategy where you use your line of credit as your main operating account. So, we'll go ahead with this scenario right here. And this person has three credit cards, an auto loan, a student loan, and a mortgage. And right here, I put GOAT. Do you know there's a goat, emoji? I didn't know that, and then I could just copy and paste it, and then Microsoft Excel will actually read it. That's pretty cool, right? And, yeah, so here's the thing. The way what we do velocity banking is we gotta make sure we have a budget, okay? Budget first, and then we need a line of credit. So, what is a line of credit? All it is a financial tool where you could borrow money, pay back, and then use it over and over again. So, it's kind of like think of this as a huge $280,000 credit card, although it's technically not. So, 280,000. Now, realistically, if you need money, okay, if you need money, quick quiz for everybody here who's listening. Will the bank lend you a line of credit? And the answer is no, because banks don't lend money to people who need it. So, realistically, if you're going through a velocity banking scenario situation here, you probably would just have another maxed out line of credit, right? It's kind of like a maxed out credit card. And then you're struggling because you're doing something that the banks want you to do, which is called segregation of income, right? Segregation of income. So, we actually, and this is a quick plug, did a live stream of someone who sent their spreadsheet of 22 debts and had only $4 left over. And some people are like, this is just way too simple, unrealistic. You want realistic? That's behind a paywall, 99 cents. Okay, so you have to pay me because I'm greedy, 99 cents. Okay. No, actually the any time, so this is just kind of a quick tip. When you have a lot of money, the reason why you ask for money is not because you need it, it's because you use that as a barrier to see who's serious or not, kinda like a down payment, right? If you're selling a house or, you're renting out a property, the easy way to filter people are just simply people who are gonna pay, because people who pay attention, right? And that's how you know who the most dedicated members of your community are, aka your cult members. And again, that's a cult with a happy face, not a cult with a doomsday face. Okay. All right. So let's just assume we have access to a $70,000 line of credit. Ooh, 0% would be fine, but most realistically, it'd just be 8% especially if it's a home equity line of credit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste this, and we're going to assume same income, same expenses, and this is 0. And this one, the expenses are 1,600. Seems kind of low, but it depends on where you live. And again, your results vary based on income and general expenses, right? But let's just do this. I'll say maybe 1,800. Make it a little bit more. Oh wait, I'm on the wrong sheet, aren't I? What am I doing? I'm in the wrong sheet. But again, we got the goat emojis. Let me copy this. This is awesome. Wait a minute. Did I get the wrong one? No, I got it. I got it. Where'd the goat emojis come from? Or maybe I'm confusing myself. Um, no. Okay. These are the goat emojis. Let's say 1,800. Okay. Oh man, you do too many of these, you'll actually get a little bit more confused at first, and then you'll be able to get to a point where you can dissect other people's YouTube struggles. I've done this like twice already, where two people who are broke on YouTube like, I'm broke and I'm making good money, and I'm like, let me show you how, a possible solution to your problems. That's how good you get. Like random strangers when they talk on YouTube are like, oh, you're not struggling. You just don't know how to manage your debt. And that's what this velocity banking stuff is for. All right. So now we're going to have a concept called cash flow, which is very similar to savings, but it's not. Okay. So what I mean by that is basically all your money, okay, is going to be in your checking account temporarily, and then once it hits your checking account, it's gone. So if you take a look at this, my bank account is pretty much always 0 for the most part. So whatever money comes in, it just simply goes out into the line of credit or my debt. Okay, and that's it. So see how easy and simple that was. And what we do is we start off with the credit cards first, and we move our credit cards into the line of credit. So this is 50, 60. So this is $60,000. And then we move $60,000 here. And then once we move that $60,000, then it's 000, right? And then now we went from $693 to $2,643.65. And so let me go ahead and do the math. I'm going to do this. G2 plus H2 minus this cash flow number. So the final step is you put your entire $6,200 into the line of credit, take out your expenses, and then rinse and repeat over and over again. So after every single month, the balance should go down by 2643.65, and then you take your interest, which is calculated by the average daily balance, right? Average daily balance. And then we multiply it by the interest rate divided by 12. And I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this. And I'm going to do this. All right. All right. And then now, after 25 months, our credit card debt is paid off. Paid off. All right. So now, 25 months. And this was 70K. Was it 70K or 60K? My bad. 60K of credit card debt. Right. You know what I do? I got to put a GOAT for each debt that's paid off. So let me go ahead and copy and paste this. A GOAT here. Oh, hold on. Let me do this. I'm going to do this. Okay. A GOAT here, a GOAT here, and a GOAT here. 3 goats. Okay. Because I am the GOAT of debt payoff. And if you are the GOAT of debt payoff in your local area, your local chapter of the Velocity Banking Cult, type in GOAT or type in the GOAT emoji. Okay. All right. So now in 25 months, let me go down here. Where's 25 months? Oh, wait, I gotta write down my loan calculator. I'm just all over the place, and I didn't even do the loan calculator correctly. So if you want to see me do the loan calculator, I do it in front of you right now. Okay. And let me just make sure this is correct. So I'm gonna delete this, and then this is 200,000 at 4%, 30-year mortgage, 30,000 at 5% at 10 years, 25,000 6% in 5 years, and then we are at month 25. Okay. All right. So now we do this, and what we're gonna do is move this car loan into the line of credit. So this is gonna be this 25 grand auto loan, and cars these days are getting quite expensive. They are. You buy a new car off the lot, probably will cost you in total maybe at least 26 to 30 grand. 30 to, yeah, 26 to 30 grand. So cars are kind of expensive these days. I'm gonna go ahead. I remember when I first came to Atlanta, I actually did Uber driving. I had a $400 a month payment, and I was like, "That's so high." And then now I see the payment that people have nowadays. It's like 600 to 1,000. Like, whoa. Yeah. But I've been watching some car videos lately, and I think I made the right choice of buying a car because everybody's like, or the right car because everybody's in the dealership space or the mechanic space is saying that, hey, Toyotas are the best, so I bought a Toyota. And you don't want to know, ironically, what the worst cars are? Probably Korean cars. They don't have, I don't think they have Japanese cars in Korea because of, Japan bad. Or I don't know if they still have that sentiment. They probably still do. But political reasons, they don't have Japanese cars in Korea. Japan bad. Um, Although they do have Japanese games and electronics, so kind of strange. Well, at least they got the games. All right, so now let's go ahead and do this and move the 15 grand. I'm gonna do this right here. Copy and paste this. We move this 15 grand 15483.34. And then guess what happens here? This goes to 0. And now our cash flow is above 3 grand. Mm-hmm. All right. So 3126.97. And we see that in 30 months, that car loan is paid off. 30 months. And this is going to be 85K. Okay. And so that's another GOAT right there. And now it's time for the student loan. So let me just type in 30 right here. So 30, 30. Okay. So now we had a 23 grand balance here, and we got 193 grand balance. Which one do we focus on paying off? Well, this one obviously has the higher interest rate, but what if this one had the higher interest rate? So this is, let's say this was a 6% and not a 4. Should we focus on paying this one off? And the answer is probably no, because, okay, I paid 23 grand. Okay, if I pay 23 grand, I'm going to get $300 back in my cash flow. But if I pay so much more than that, I'm not going to get that cash flow proportionally, right? This is way more, you don't, if I pay 23 grand, or if I give 23 grand to someone, I'd rather get $318 back than give someone 193 grand to get $1,200 back, right? That's kind of how we have to think about it. But let me change this back to 4%. And then if you do 4%, it's even worse, okay? And if you want to know, the payment is really only determined by 3 factors: the original balance, the interest rate, and the loan. And so the reason why I don't really care about the interest rate is because the loan balance that you start off at is way more important than the interest rate. But if you take a look at how the housing market works, every time there's a shift in the interest rate change, everybody's like paying attention. But when it comes to real estate investing, that really doesn't matter to me because what's more important is getting the deal, right? So something like this. If you see a $300,000 property, buy it for $200,000 property. This is my 2-acre farm. And if you have a $200,000 property, buy it for 100. If you have a $800,000 property, buy it for 4,000, right? Because the number one rule of real estate investing is you have to buy it at a discount. This interest rate stuff is like, it's sprinkles of what you would pay normally. And this is why I don't really focus too much on like interest rate compared to paying off our debt and maximizing our cash flow. Okay. So, too many people focus way too much on interest rate, which is important, but not as important compared to your cash flow number. All right. So, now this one, so we have a 23 grand and 190 grand, two loan balances, and we have, let's say, let me go back here, 3,100 left over. Now we have two choices, okay? We can either overpay the loan directly with the mortgage or just use a line of credit to help us pay it off. Now, even though the interest rate of this one is actually lower than the line of credit, we might still want to use a line of credit. Why is that? It's because it's a tool to help us unify our finances and not segregate our income. And the reason why we were originally broke is because of this income segregation effect. And not only that, we felt like we needed to have some savings. Okay. And so I'm just going to use the line of credit to help pay it off. Now, anytime we have a lower interest loan, right, with a higher interest rate line of credit, we can use what we call the chunking method and just make it easier for us to pay it off, right? So even with the interest rate difference, the effect is going to be so minimal, you won't believe that it's not butter. Okay, so let me go ahead and put this in a velocity banking calculator, and this will be a $30,000 student loan. Okay, all I gotta do is put 0, and then put 0 right here, and then this would be 10 years, and then this is going to be 5. And I was just playing around here. All right, so now what's my income right now? It's everything except for the loan we're trying to pay off. And let me put this in here. 23,839.93. 23,839.93. And then what's the payment amount is 318.2. Okay. And so now our current expenses is everything except for the loan we're trying to pay off. So it would just be these two right here. So let me go ahead and what am I doing? All right. All right. So now let me go ahead and sum these up. So it's 2754.83. 2754.83. And then our monthly expenses is, our income is 6,200. And let's just do these $7,000 chunks at 8%. And then you could see that it got paid off in about half a year, right? Now, let's go ahead and pay it off in half a year. Okay. So half a year, or a little bit more than half a year, 0.6. So I'm going to do this, and this is going to be 0, and this is going to be 30 plus 0.6 multiplied by not -1, it's 12. So 38 months is when this is completely paid off. And so now that's was it 115? Okay. So it's 115 plus 85 plus 30. Yeah, 115. That's another goat here. And then last one is the mortgage. Last one is the mortgage. Okay, so now we're at month 38. 38. Now, here's the thing. I think a lot of people, right? They don't see velocity banking as a holistic strategy. And so what they do is incredibly freak out. Oh my goodness, like this is the worst thing ever because you're moving a lower interest loan to a higher interest rate line of credit. Okay. So I'm just going to give you the worst case scenario if you did this. And what is the worst that could happen? Okay. And what do I mean by worst case scenario? So let's say you actually had a 0% loan, right? Like moving a 0% loan to, let's say, a 8% or a 15% line of credit, most people would be like, you're gonna, your house is gonna explode or something like that, right? It's not gonna be anywhere compared to, let's say, the damage that happened to Pacific Palisades. And if you're in that area, I mean, seriously, I feel for you, right? Like that's a lot of damage. I can't believe it's like a post-apocalyptic scenario. I can't believe the number of people that really just abandoned their cars. Like, did it get that bad so fast where it's like you just had to abandon all those nice cars? That's wow. That's insane. But let me just kind of make my point here. So let's say I had a $200,000 loan. Okay. So let me just do this, 30 years, 0%, $200,000 loan. And then what's the current balance of that loan? It is, we'll just say $200,000. Okay. Start off at zero. 30 years, and the payment is 555.56, 555.56. And now what is our expenses? Our expenses is 1,800. Let's say that you even had a 0% mortgage, which is actually possible if you know something called creative financing. Okay, and you're like, I'm doing this velocity banking thing, and you kind of, if it's 0%, I probably wouldn't do this. But let's say you still did this when this was a 0% loan. What is the worst that could happen? Oh, I overpay by $1,200. Okay, like, is that the worst thing in the world? Like, if you do this method and it's a 0% loan and you help pay with it with the 8% line of credit, right? Like, people pay that more in mortgage refinance origination fees than throughout the entire life of a loan, right? So again, I don't know why people get so hung up on this. And plus, this is the last step of the debt payoff, right? So let me just kind of do this. Now, here's a big mistake. I want to tell you a big mistake. Now, if I paid $1,200 and you did this strategy with the 0% loan, I just no biggie, right? But let's say I did a first lien HELOC replacement, which is something that I've seen on the internet. I pay a lot more. I pay 39 grand. What do you want to pay, right? So again, I'm not saying that we don't want to overpay. I'm just saying that there are trade-offs, and one of the trade-offs is that you don't want to segregate your income. Now, obviously, I'm not going to do with the 0% loan because no lender, unless you're doing something called creative finance, will do a 0% loan. But let me go ahead and do this and type in this, and what's the actual um loan amount. So this is going to be, whoopsie, 4%, 4%, 954.83, 954.83. And let me just go in here, 188,346.69, 188,346.69. And then this is going to be a 4% interest rate, and boom, done in 3.9 years. We're good. All right, so now let me just do this. 38 divided by 12 plus 3.9 years, and that's 7.7 years. We are debt free. All right, so that's another goat for here. So how many goats? It's 5 goats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, actually 6 goats. I can't even count. That's why I have Excel, right? So this was going to be 315K. And yeah, that's it. That's it. 7 years. You know what's crazy? So many people tell me velocity banking is so unrealistic, and I'll agree with you. You know why? Because I've never actually done a scenario or simulation where when I did these spreadsheets and all this stuff, all this good stuff, I paid it off in less than 3 years. It's always been about 3 to 4. That's kind of like the average I've seen whenever I've done a simulation. But in my scenario, I did it in 2 years and 9 months, and I've never actually been able to replicate that in any sort of spreadsheet. So it is unrealistic, at least for me, right? Because if it were realistic, then I'd be able to create a mathematical model in which it worked, but I could never do that, right? I've never been able to do a scenario, at least I think I have it, where it's been paid off in less than 3 years, but I did in my real life. So that's why most of this stuff is all it doesn't work for, or like I can't. I'm just kind of making up as I go along, right? Just making it up. But here, if you want to see this, I mean, just stare at this for 10 more seconds, right? Ooh, wow, this is pretty great. This is great. Just kidding. You'll get bored of it after like a couple months, right? Because really, what is a mortgage? When you pay it off, it's just one less debt, right? People don't think of it like that because they're too overly attached to their home and it has a lot of sentimental value. Well, I've only been living in this home for about 3 years, so I don't have too much sentimental value compared let's say my childhood home, right? Childhood home is a little bit different, but this home is like, whatever, whatever. Uh, yeah. Oh yeah, this is me when I first put on my Infinity Gauntlet, right? Um, yeah. Well, that's it for today. It's Korean Atlanta Mentorship. See you all in the next video. And if you are the GOAT of your local area, type in "I am the GOAT" or the Debt Payoff GOAT. Make it a little bit more specific. All right. Well, this is Korean Atlanta Mentorship. Have a great day, and we'll speak next time.